You know who it is, everybody. I am back once again with another hair tutorial. Today I'm showing you how I did this sew-in using bundles from 915 Beauty. Alright, so the first thing I did here was separate my leave out, which is this strip of hair at the very front of my head. And I just flat twisted that so it's out of the way. Next, I'm going to cornrow my hair straight back. And what I'm doing in the back is I'm just taking the end of the braid and braiding it into the next cornrow. So this is how it looks in the back. My hair in the back is like very soft compared to the rest of my hair, so it's really hard to keep those braids in with my hair being so short. But we'll fix that soon enough. So I'm using this weaving net. And I'm just going to put that on. And in order to reinforce the ends of my braids, I'm just going to stitch across the back. Just to kind of reinforce it and make sure those braids do not come loose. At this point, I'm going to cut the net at the nape of my neck. Not all of it, just what's around the part that I stitched, just so that's out of the way as I start this first track. So you'll notice that when I start a track, I always stick the needle through the weft. Some people don't like to do this, but this is how I do it. And I find that it helps to lock that end in place. And I'm just gonna go under the cornrow and around the net and begin to stitch. Now, as usual, I'm using the fold over method, which means I'm not going to cut the track until I'm finished. So that very last track I will probably cut, or I'll definitely cut. But throughout most of this process, I'm just folding the track over to continue to the next row. Now, I apologize for the lighting in this video because I was doing it over the course of a couple of days. And I was traveling at the time, so my lighting changed a lot. At some point, some of my shots got way blown out, but gotta work with what you got. Okay, so here's a close-up of exactly how I start a track. Like I said, I stick the needle through the weft. And when I stitch, I go under the net and the cornrow. Sometimes I may go through the cornrow depending on where I'm stitching. And I pull that through. And of course I loop it back around. And once I bring that needle through again, and I have that loop, I pull the needle through that loop, and that helps to lock it in place. Some people like to wrap the thread around the needle and then pull it through a few times, but I find for me that's just a waste of thread, and a lot of times what happens is you end up with the knot and it just makes for a mess. Like it just gives me a headache trying to do it that way. So I just pull it through once, no wrapping, and you get a nice tight stitch. Make sure you tighten it along the way. So when you see me kind of pulling at it, I'm tightening that stitch. The good thing about the net is that it gives you more surface space to stitch, so you can add as many tracks as you would like, even if there's not a cornrow there. And here is how I fold the track over. So you want to make sure that last stitch is really close to where you want to fold the track over. Nice and tight. And then you're going to fold it back. I'm sorry if this is blurry. I'm trying to get my focus right. and then you're just going to continue to stitch across that track as you've done before. Sometimes I'll use a clip to hold the track in place just to make things a little easier. Alright, so now we're getting towards the top. So at about this point, I'm going to start laying the tracks just across the back, so back and forth across the back, just to kind of close up that U shape. And once you get to about, I'd say maybe an inch, maybe even 2 away from the leave out, you want to start doing your tracks from front to back. And I'll show you what I mean here. And this is going to allow you to be able to flip your hair over. So here's how we're looking. At this point, I'm taking out my leave out. Off camera, I straightened it, but this is kind of how it looks once you start to blend it. As you can see, it doesn't take much hair to cover those tracks. And this is the final look. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Thumbs up if you found it helpful. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss a thing.